Hey there! This is a really quick tutorial on how to create and set up your American Literature response log. Woo woo! I know you are super excited to get started on this. You might be wondering, why do I have to do this? The American Literature response log will, for the most part, take the place of the Part 2 written section on your unit test. It also is going to give us an awesome opportunity to analyze, connect to, and just really dig deep into the literature that we're reading this semester. So it is really important because it's going to help you understand and process the literature that we're reading in class. It's also going to be graded, and it is a big chunk of your grade. Another thing that the American Literature response log does is it gives you an opportunity to work on your writing skills. And so, all in all, this is a really important assignment. It's something that we are going to continue to use throughout the semester. So I want to make sure that you finish this video and that you set this up correctly. To create your LRL, you're going to open up these instructions that you see right here and that you found inside the online high school. You are going to save this very document to your computer. I would love for you to create a folder on your computer called American Literature. If you're not sure how to create a folder, go ahead and send me a quick email and I will step you through that. It's really important you have a folder for this class. That way you can save all of your assignments to it and it's really easy to find. So make sure that you save the instructions to that folder so it's easy for you to pull up and look at. After you've done that, and after you've read through these instructions thoroughly, I want you to create your American Literature response log. Your response log will be on one Word document. This is really important. You're going to use the same Word document the entire semester. So as we move through each unit, you're going to be answering questions about the text that we're reading in your response log. You're going to be submitting it to me at the end of each unit. And then when you move on to the next unit, you're going to pull up the same response log with your already written answers, and you are going to continue to add to it. So you will keep this throughout the entire semester. You will only have one American Literature response log. Okay, once you're ready to set that up, you are just going to pull up a blank Word document. Once you have that blank sheet of paper up, I want you to put your name on it. And just because we can, why don't we put it in MLA format? So I'm going to make up a name, Susan Smith. So I want you to write your first name. I want you to put my name, Miss Dee Dietz, because I'm your teacher. I want you to put our class, American Literature. Oh man, you should spell it correctly though. And then normally you would put the date here when you're doing an MLA heading, but this is going to be kind of ongoing, so I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to put semester 1. Then you need to title your document. So I'm going to center this, and I'm going to write American Literature response log. Ta-da! Okay. After you've done that, you have your American Literature response log set up. I want you to save it to your computer to that very folder that you just created for American Literature, the same folder that holds all of the instructions. And I want you to keep it in that folder. And then as we move through Unit 2 and all of the other units we're going to do this semester, when it tells you to complete the LRL entry and respond to the LRL question, this is a document you're going to pull up. When it's time for you to create your first entry, you want to make sure that you've set up that entry correctly. Let's take a second and check out the instructions again. When it's time to create that first entry, I want you to go back to your instructions to this section right here that says, how do I create a specific LRL entry? For each entry, you must do the following. You need to write down the title of the piece. Now, occasionally, we'll get to the end of a unit and you'll be doing a response to the entire unit. And in that case, that's okay. You don't need to write the title. You could just write down, end of unit question or whatever the title for the LRL is. So go ahead and write down the title of the piece of writing you're analyzing or the title of the LRL entry itself. Then I want you to write down the author if applicable. Again, if you are responding to a question that kind of encompasses all of the text that we read in a unit, you can leave the author blank. If it is just an LRL entry about one piece of writing, then you are going to have an author. So you want to make sure that you write the author in there correctly, double check the spelling, make sure that it's perfect. Then I want you to include the date of the LRL assignment. This can be the date that you're completing it. It does not need to be the date that it's due. I want you to write down the date that you're completing it. Lastly, you also need to include the question. And you can go ahead and just copy and paste the question over into your LRL. That's completely fine with me. So the last part is to include the question. The cool thing about having the question here is that when you go to write the entry, you have that question right in front of you, and you can use the question to help you phrase that topic sentence. So it's important that you include that there. After you do that, you'll be able to hit enter and you can start writing your entry right underneath the question. Your LRL entries should be one paragraph in length. A lot of times kids will email me and ask how many sentences. I'll be honest, I don't count your sentences. I'll take note if it's super, super short and scrawny. What I'm really looking for is substance. At this level in the game, you should be aiming for about, 6 to 8 sentences, somewhere in there, maybe more, just depending on the entry itself. But really, I'm looking for quality. Your entries need to have the following things. They need to have a topic sentence. And that's somewhere here in the instructions. They need to have a clear topic sentence. They need to have 2 to 3 pieces of evidence or examples from the text. So you should have 2 to 3 pieces of evidence or examples. One of those needs to be a direct quote. So you want to make sure that you use at least one direct quote in there. You should have analysis of every piece of evidence that you have. So if you give me an example from the text, you need to explain it and back it up and kind of connect the dots for me and explain to me how that supports that topic sentence. And then you also need a concluding sentence. When I read your entry, I want evidence of thoughtful and careful analysis. So I want to know that you tried hard and you really thought about this. I'm going to be looking to make sure you completely answered the question. Sometimes you'll have a question that actually has 3 questions in it. If you want full credit on that LRL entry, you need to answer every single part of that question. And then I'll also look at sentence structure and whether or not your entry is written in third person without using the word I. So I will take a look at your grammar. I do want you to write in third person. Third person is more objective, so take out the word I, make sure you're writing from a third person point of view and that you're not using any first person pronouns like I and me and we. It should all be in third person. And then, again, make sure you double check, read through your entry, make sure you're saying exactly what you want to say, make sure you have proper grammar and punctuation. Use spell check. Do so carefully because sometimes it likes to change your words, but definitely use spell check to clean things up. And then at the end of the unit, when you see that due date appear on the class plan, you are going to take this document that you've created and you are going to upload it to the Dropbox. Like I said earlier, you will continuously add to this. And so in our first unit, we'll be doing 2 to 3 entries. And then we'll come back to this in Unit 5, and you'll have additional entries to add to it. So as we move through the semester, you're going to see this document go from 1 paragraph to tons of paragraphs. You're just going to keep adding to it throughout the year. And the cool thing about that is you get to see your growth. So you'll get to see what your paragraphs and what your responses look like at the beginning of the semester, and then how awesome they've become by the end of the semester. So hopefully this explained the American Literature Response Log a little bit better to you than just the written instructions. I'm hopeful that you can, get out of this video and move on to creating your American Literature Response Log and feel confident in doing so. If you have questions, make sure you email me right away. This isn't something you want to get behind on. So if you have a question, please, please, please reach out. I'm here to help, and I can definitely step you through this process. Okay, enjoy. I can't wait to read your American Literature response log.